Happy Valentine's Day, OTC Fit Life foodies. Well, thanks for joining me. So we have a Valentine's dinner, and this is not your traditional steak and lobster seafood. I decided to go with something a little bit cheaper because right now groceries are outrageous. So I've got some chicken thighs in here, boneless chicken thighs, and we're gonna be cooking them in a lemon sauce with some orzo and some spinach, and I've got some dried tomato right here. And then we're gonna top it off with a creamy feta sauce. Now my skillet I've got warming up right now. Let me turn this down. Some butter and some olive oil. My chicken is in here, and I'm just gonna toss it with some flour, some salt, some pepper, and some paprika. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a stir here and get it coated. All right, now I'm gonna take 3 shallots that I've chopped and add it to my skillet back here. Parley. And give that a stir. Now I use both butter and olive oil because butter is going to burn, but olive oil's got a higher smoking point, burning point. But we want that flavor and the fat from our butter to be added in there. Next I'm going to add, Harley's enjoying the kitchen floor, some lemons that I've sliced. And we're going to lay these down. And we want these to start kind of caramelizing. And I want them to start releasing their juice in the skillet here. So these are just going to cook for a few minutes. Now the nice thing about this meal, it's a nice meal. I've got some spinach I'm going to put in there, so we've got some greens in there. And then I've got all these wonderful flavors. And it's really going to be cooked in one skillet, so you don't have to dirty up a lot of dishes. And it serves a family of 4. This and the dessert, which is molten lava cake, I purchased for under $50. Now I was thinking about, oh, everybody does the lobster and the shrimp and the scallops. Well, like I said, I wanted something that would please everybody but not break the bank. And we're utilizing a different cut of the chicken, not the chicken breast. I know right now those are expensive, and wings are hard to find as well. So we're just going to cook these for a minute and let them soften up, release those juices and oils in our butter here, and our shallots. All right, so next we're going to grab some garlic that I've minced. I've got 3 cloves of garlic here, and we're going to take our lemons out and then add our garlic and then our chicken. Now save the lemons because we are going to add them back in. Garlic is going in. And next goes our chicken. Now, if you want to change it and do a chicken breast, that's fine. This is boneless, skinless. You could cook it with the skin on, of course. But this is just quick. Now we're looking to just kind of brown the chicken. We're not going to cook it all the way through because we are going to be adding them back in the skillet. I have to say, one of the nice things about chicken thighs is that even though it's a dark meat, because it's dark, it stays juicy, whereas the breasts sometimes dry out. So I really don't mind a chicken thigh because it does stay nice and juicy. Alright, so I'm going to take these out, turn this down just a little bit. Like I said, these are not cooked all the way through, but we do have a nice little browning to them. And I don't mind all the bits in the bottom. That's actually what we want. We want to keep that in there because they're going to add, it's going to add a lot of flavor to our dish. There's nice little brown bits of flavor. Okay, and I'm going to turn this down for a second. All right. So next we're going to add our Orzo. We're going to take about half a cup of Orzo. I probably should have opened this earlier. There we go. And we're going to cook this in there and just give this a nice stir to toast it. It's going to pick up some of the fat in the skillet. Now, like I said, it's okay. We've got the brown bits on the bottom. We're going to use that flavor. All right, next we're going to take our chicken broth. We're going to use about 2 cups of it. And our Orzo is going to cook in our chicken broth, and it's going to absorb the chicken broth in there. So don't be alarmed by the amount of liquid in there. And we're going to stir the bottom here. All right, next I'm going to add my seasonings and my tomatoes because we want this to all cook together and incorporate this really nice flavor. So I have freshly chopped rosemary and thyme. I'm gonna add that. And then my dried tomatoes, they're julienned. And we're gonna let this come to a boil for a second, and then I'll probably add a bit more stock in there, or broth, just to make sure I've got enough for the amount of orzo I have in here. So we're gonna let that simmer for just a minute. And while this is simmering, I'm gonna grab some spinach and we're gonna put some fresh spinach in here. We want this to all cook together. Okay. Now, if you wanna leave out the spinach, you can. I personally like spinach because of all the nutrients and everything it has in it, and it's really got a very mild taste. You could do some peas if you wanted to. You could do some kale, chopped kale, or you could just leave the greens out if you wanted to. All right, and the spinach is going to cook down, so it looks like a lot, but it's really going to cook down pretty quickly. All right, so that is there. Next, we're going to add back our chicken and our lemons. So we're going to nestle everything in here nicely. And let's top it with our lemons. All right, we're going to put a cover on this and let it simmer for about 10 minutes or so until the orzo is done and the chicken is cooked all the way through. So please stay tuned and come back in about 10 minutes and we'll finish up our dish here. All right, so our chicken has been cooking for about 15 minutes and it's simmered out nicely. You can see that there's not as much liquid in there, and the chicken is cooked all the way through. So now it's time to plate it up. It's all right if you have some lemon slices in here, you can always just move those to the side. All right, so let's finish it off. So we have our chicken here and our orzo. So let's just top it off with a little bit of fresh parsley. And then this is whipped feta with Greek yogurt, some lemon juice, and a little bit of olive oil. Now, I did not use the crumbled, I used a block of feta. There is a difference. Remember we talked about the blocks versus the crumbles. If it's already grated or crumbled, it's got an additive in there to keep it dry so it doesn't clump together. So this we want nice and smooth, so I used the block of feta. And then we're just going to put that on top. There you go. Now that would also be good as a dip, by the way, too. And then just a nice lemon wedge. And there you go. There is your Valentine's dinner. That is for your sweetheart. So hope you enjoyed the meal tonight, and thanks for eating with me. Ciao, and look for our next video, which is molten lava chocolate cake. Good night.